So, how are you doing, chat? Apparently, Ethan Klein has finally made it very, very clear in public as to why the show Leftovers is now left over. No pun intended, but just being honest. He made it really clear as to why that happened. And it was about like basically Hasan's camp, people in his camp, people like apparently this person named Frogan who's like an Osama bin Laden sympathizer who's not saying it but kind of saying it. And apparently one of Hasan's editors, allegedly this person is Hasan's editor. Never mind, actually no, he is. It says it in his bio. He's allegedly Hasan's TikTok editor. There's this narrative amongst far left progressives that like Osama bin Laden had some deep important reason for doing 9/11. I don't know where this became popular. I don't know how this became popular, but this narrative that Osama bin Laden had some kind of like, important information to share with the American people, and there was a genuinely good reason for why he did what he did. I'm not sure exactly why that narrative is becoming popular, but it is. This man's editor literally tweeted, bro, I gotta show y'all this. Wow. This is Hasan's editor, I swear to God. Bro, this is Hasan's TikTok editor. Now look at the date that he tweeted this. Look at the date that this person tweeted this. On September 11th, 2024. So 23 years after 9/11, this guy has decided to tweet this. He says, do Americans actually know why bin Laden did all of that? Or do they all believe he hated that they can vote or something? This is like, when I tell y'all that leftists are the left-wing version of MAGA, I swear to God, it's the same shit. Like, people who think that Osama bin Laden had some kind of deep reasoning for 9/11 are literally just stupid. Some of y'all seem to not understand the timeline of Osama bin Laden. Some of y'all seem to think, like, y'all quote, if in fact y'all do know, you quote his, like, letter to America that he wrote after 9/11, where he complains about Iraq and Afghanistan as a reason why he did 9/11. Y'all need to understand his letter to America where he's crying about Iraq and Afghanistan is after 9/11. Because he starts bitching and complaining about the fact that his attack on America on 9/11 got Afghanistan blown up and Iraq invaded. The reality is, though, Osama bin Laden's reasoning for 9/11 was actually, like, bullshit. Like, it was, you guys are run by Jews. The Jews this, the Jews that. Israel. You guys are gay. You guys gamble. You guys, there's too much sexual stuff going on in your country. I shit you not. Osama bin Laden's reasoning for 9/11 was mostly bullshit. And Ethan Klein himself posts about this. And apparently, like, Frogan was like, ugh, this guy. But it is true. Like, I'm not gonna, like, do this with, like, far left tankies and shit anymore. Like, I understand that some Hasan fans watch my channel, but I'm not gonna coddle y'all the same way I don't coddle MAGA. No, Osama bin Laden did not have some like deep reasoning for doing 9/11. For example, one of his complaints was that American troops were in Saudi Arabia and not his own troops. Mind you, Osama bin Laden's troops were the Mujahideen, terrorists, bums, basically. Okay, like, the Saudis weren't going to hire Osama bin Laden and his ragtag group of morons to protect Saudi Arabia from Iraqi aggression. Because at that time, Iraq was doing the invasions and stuff like that. And Saudi Arabia wanted a protector. So they brought in the Americans. Just the presence of non-Muslims, the presence of Americans in the Arabian Peninsula had Osama bin Laden bent out of shape. Bent out of shape, so much so that he felt like he was justified in killing 2,000 Americans. I hate to break it to some of y'all who think that, and this is like, I need to touch on this. The faux intellectualism of like, America bad, like, it's gay. It's ridiculous. Like, what are we even talking about? America bad is some kind of like insightful discovery. Like it's some kind of like, oh my, wow, like it's ridiculous. The idea that somehow or another, like, America's always the villain, America's always wrong, and anyone who attacks America is always correct. It's absolutely insane. It's insane. So let's read exactly what happened between these people here. So Frogan says, this MFer never shuts up, oh my god. And this is a response to Ethan Klein saying that Osama bin Laden did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings the reasons: homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country. This is true. This is like the truth. And here's something I need to say. I'm going to just say it because nobody else is saying it. Some of you leftists are not progressives. You're just hoes. Suckers. Like, y'all need to leave. You don't actually care about progressivism. It's just America bad. Yes, Osama bin Laden hated gay people. He hated LGBTQ rights. Osama bin Laden, in part, attacked America because of that. I don't know why it's so hard for leftists to realize and understand that Osama bin Laden really was that crazy. And it has to be something else. It can't be that simple. It's kind of like, it's like, for a while, I had a hard time accepting the fact that Russia really was that comically stupid and that comically evil. It was like, there's no way. And then you start reading about, like, you know, killing political opponents, knocking people out of the sky with bombs, Prigozhin, all kind of insanity. And it's like, damn, y'all really are like Makarov. Y'all really are something out of a video game. The reality is Osama bin Laden really was that comically evil. I don't know what else to tell y'all. I mean, we could read his fatwas. Hasan's editor sits there and basically tries to make it seem like 9/11 had some kind of like deep justification. Bro, that whole camp does not like this country, and they are Osama bin Laden sympathizers. I don't know what else to tell y'all. What part of y'all like actually believes Hasan Tiger likes the United States? The dude was born here just to be born here. He's actually just from Turkey. He doesn't like this country. The reality is, bro, these people are not really progressive, because if they have to pick between like hating America and progressivism, they'll pick hating America. They have to pick between hating Jewish people and Israel, they'll pick that over progressivism. The reality is their loyalty to Islam is stronger than and a lot of these people aren't even practicing Muslims, by the way. Their loyalty to Islam, their loyalty to the Palestinians is far deeper than their loyalty to the United States and the marginalized communities of the United States. So let's read some of Osama Boy's justifications for what he's got going on, because some of this stuff is absolutely insane, okay? In a CNN interview with Osama, wait, they interviewed this nigga? That's crazy. We declare jihad against the U.S. government because the U.S. government is unjust, criminal, and tyrannical. It is committed. And notice how this nigga, notice how he did not pull no 9/11 shit on Russia. Now, to be fair, they did fight Russia in the mountains of Afghanistan, but bro, like, it's funny how, like, Russia is never targeted this hard by Arab extremists. Only the Chechens. Arab extremists stay clear of Russia. They never fought with them niggas, because y'all know why. I ain't gonna lie, like, Russia's like the geopolitical version of Trump. Like, if you bother him, like, you know you're in for the fight of your life. Like, don't bother them niggas. And they're not gonna play fair neither. We declare jihad against the U.S. government because the U.S. government is unjust, criminal, and tyrannical. It has committed acts that are extremely unjust, hideous, and criminal, whether directly or through its support of the Israeli occupation. So his issue is the fact that Israel as a state exists. Some of y'all seem to think that, like, Israel is gonna go poof, and that's just never gonna happen. Osama was one of them until he died. Israel's not going anywhere. Like, sorry to say, but that's just not happening. This idea that the Israeli state's going to dissolve, no, it's not. It's probably a nuclear state more than likely. They're never going to give up their existence. If Osama bin Laden was rational, he would not have killed 2,000 Americans over a geopolitical situation that can never, like, the solution he wanted is never going to happen. And he was willing to kill 2,000 Americans over a geopolitical outcome he was never going to be able to bring into reality. Furthermore, it's like, how many times do Palestinians get to attack Israel before we accept the fact that war is war? Like, I'm not going to lie. Bro, hold up. Arab-Israeli war. I want to get the date right. Was it 48? I'm not gonna lie. I can't be mad at the Palestinians for attacking in 48. I mean, if you have an opportunity to kick these people out of your land and keep your land, shit, you know what? I gotta be fair. Like, I can't be mad at them. Like, but like these constant attempts at war to dissolve the Israeli state, that, like, you cannot keep doing this. It's never gonna work. It's never gonna happen. And killing 2,000 innocent Americans is retarded. Like, it literally makes zero sense. This repeated. We're gonna go to war with Israel. It's like, okay, like, what do you think is gonna come from this? Like, do you think that you're gonna just infinitely attack Israel, and, like, what do you expect the outcome to be? Like, I can't be mad at the Arab-Israeli war. Sure, Israel accepted the partition plan, and the Arabs rejected it and declared war. I get why they did it, though. Like, if you can, like, time was of the essence. If there was ever a time to fight Israel and expel them, it was then. But now, in 2024, Palestinians have to accept some kind of coexistence. And Israelis, you know? Like, I know a lot of people that follow me, love Israel, and I know the nickname for the chat is the RDF, Rashad Defense Force, but, like, the occupation of the West Bank, the slow but sure, like, colonization of the West Bank, we gotta be realistic here. You can't slowly but surely colonize these people indefinitely and expect nothing to happen. But Osama bin Laden willing to crash the fuck out over Israel's existence is stupid. And people acting like somehow or another, like Osama had some deep understanding. Osama had some deep reason. No, he didn't. No. If 9/11 happened after Iraq and Afghanistan, like, let's just say the timeline was different. maybe one could say like, man, America kind of had that one coming. But no, bro, like, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. I'm not even gonna pretend that that's what happened, bro. Not even close. So let's keep reading. For this and other acts of aggression and injustice, we declare jihad against the United States because in our religion, it is our duty to make jihad so that God's word is the one exalted to the heights and so that we drive the Americans away from all Muslim countries. Mind you, Saudi Arabia consented to the presence of American troops. It was a consensual relationship. There was like, bro, they literally invited Americans to be there, to defend them. Osama bin Laden is bent out of shape, not because America strolled into Saudi Arabia, but because we were there after they asked us to be there, and because we stopped Iraqi expansion into, I believe Iraq invaded Kuwait, right? And we got involved in that Desert Storm. So because we tried to maintain geopolitical stability in the region, and we had a mutual agreement with an Arab, literally Saudi Arabia, we need to be expelled from all Muslim countries. Okay. Then he says, as for what you asked, whether jihad is directed against U.S. soldiers, the civilians in the land of the two holy places, Saudi Arabia, Mecca, and Medina, or against the civilians in America, we have focused our declaration on striking at the soldiers in the country of the two holy places. The country of the two holy places has in our religion a peculiarity of its own over the other Muslim countries. In our religion, it is not permissible for any non-Muslim to stay in our country. Therefore, even though American civilians are not targeted in our plan, they must leave. Is that even true? I'm pretty sure Muslims have a tax. I'm pretty sure they tax non-Muslims. I don't think Muslims just expel you for being non-Muslim. That's not true. Is that true? That's not true. You can live in a Muslim country without being Muslim. They have a tax for that. Isn't it like bro, they have a tax for Jews and Christians. I don't know about atheists, but they definitely have a tax for that. In our religion, it is not permissible for any non-Muslim to stay in our country. Therefore, even though American civilians are not targeted in our plan, they must leave. We do not guarantee their safety because we are a society of more than a billion Muslims. See, this is what I'm talking about. Osama bin Laden is literally delusional. Jizya. That's what I didn't want to say it because I don't want to be like, I don't want to say the wrong thing and be like, oh, Rashad, jizya tax, like, some of y'all be crazy like that. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So like, he says we are a society of more than a billion Muslims. It's like, my nigga, you're not all on the same page. You think Kuwait wanted to be invaded by Iraq? You think Saudi Arabia didn't want American troops in their country? Just because you, in your little cave surrounded by dusty, crusty terrorists, have all decided that we don't want Americans in Saudi Arabia. Bitch, the king done told you they want the Americans there. Who are you? Like, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. Osama bin Laden's reasoning for 9/11 was fucking crazy. If you actually read what he said pre-9/11, not post-9/11, if you actually read what he said pre-9/11, it's all just the ramblings of a lunatic. It's lunacy. Why can't y'all think critically and parse these ideas? It seems like a lot of y'all have a hard time holding two ideas in tandem, especially Rashad. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. What two ideas? There are no two ideas. Some of y'all seem to believe that Osama bin Laden had like a genuine reason to attack America. He didn't. There's no other. This is literally not a this is not a conversation, bro. The end. There's nothing more to talk about. Like, there is no justification. None. I'm sorry, but like, there is none, bro. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, America supported the existence of Israel as somehow justification for 2,000 Americans being killed in a terror attack? I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? Like, at the end of the day, Israel as a state is always going to exist. The support of the existence of the Israeli state is the best course for all nation states to take, and the support of a Palestinian state is also the best course as well. The problem is, Osama doesn't want coexistence. He wants one state in which the Palestinians reign supreme, and that's over with. It's over with. In fact, I'm pretty sure he wanted the Jews expelled from Muslim lands. So I'm like, what are we, like, bro, Osama was not a normal guy, bro. He was a Looney Tune lunatic. I don't know what y'all want me to tell you. So he says, I have benefited so greatly from the jihad in Afghanistan that it would have been impossible for me to gain such a benefit from any other chance, and this cannot be measured by tens of years, but rather more than that. Our experience in this jihad was great by the grace of God. Praise and glory be to him. And the most of what we benefited from was that the myth of the superpower was destroyed, not only in my mind, but also in the minds of all Muslims. That's not what this nigga was saying when they tried to kill him in 2004. Slumber and fatigue vanished, and so was the terror which the United States would use its media by attributing itself superpower status, or which the Soviet Union used by attributing itself as a superpower. It's like, here's the thing about like people who talk shit about America's not the superpower. I'm not saying this would be the right thing to do. What I'm saying is, if America or Russia actually wanted to win, they could win. Like, if America went full on like white boy colonizer mode, it would have worked. Like, I don't know, I'm just being honest, bro. Like, if they literally went hard, turned Afghans against each other, changed the culture, they could have, like, the idea that America isn't a superpower is absolutely ridiculous. In order for us to win those wars, we would have to go full on colonizer, which obviously is like horrible, like PR, like just absolutely like horrible. But this idea that like fucking, and I gotta give it to the terrorists. These motherfuckers are not afraid to die, because the reality is, like, whenever American troops fight these people, we don't lose. Like, we don't lose fighting them. It's just like, it's impossible to defeat them because the lengths we have to go to win would be illegal. But we don't lose fights with these people. I'm not gonna give the credit to the terrorists. These niggas, like, bro, when I read about Fallujah, like, imagine being like literally trapped in a city. 20,000 Americans are coming to kill you. You know you're not gonna survive this. The only way you survive is if you like literally surrender and go into prison in like Guantanamo Bay. You gotta be a real G to like stand 10 toes against American troops and say what's good. Like, I gotta give it to the terrorists. But this dude's a lunatic, bro. Let's read what else this fool said. For over 7 years, the United States has been occupying the lands of Islam in the holiest of places, the Arabian Peninsula, plundering its riches, dictating to its rulers, humiliating its people, terrorizing its neighbors, and turning its bases in the peninsula into a spearhead through which to fight the neighboring Muslim peoples. Notice how the characterization of this is going on. He characterizes this as a war between Islam and like the infidel. No one in the group chat is thinking like this but Osama. Reminder, he's the only one thinking like this. He's literally the only one. Saudi Arabia wants to be protected from Iraqi aggression. Same with Kuwait. Like, no one is thinking Muslim versus non-Muslim. This is not the 1100s. This is not the Crusade. This is not the Crusades. This is like the 90s. And he's talking like it's like 800 years ago. And it's like, no, bro, it's the 90s. And he's talking like it's the Crusades. He's insane. He's literally insane. Despite the great devastation inflicted on the Iraqi people by the Crusader Zionist alliance, and despite the huge number of those killed, which has exceeded 1 million, despite all of this, that has to be a lie. 1 million people killed in the war in Iraq. Bro. What? Let me read the date on this. Bro. 1998. So the war in Iraq officially hasn't even happened yet. Like, not like Operation Iraqi Freedom. 1 million people did not die in Desert Storm, bro. That's a lie. That's not true. Bro, that's not true. He's just making shit up. Hold up. How many people died in Desert Storm? Y'all ain't finna do this with me. How many Iraqis? Because when I look up people, they just say Americans. I'm actually fucked up. How many Iraqis? That's fucked up. I said people, and they was gonna tell me how many Americans died. Nigga, what the fuck died in? Oh, man, that's fucked up. Okay, so now they're giving me troops. What about cities? What about cities? So let's look at the data. Look at the data. So AI is telling your boy that at least 100,000 and as many as 200,000 Iraqis died, including both civilians and military personnel. Between 20,000 and 35,000 Iraqi soldiers died during the ground war. The Iraqi government estimates that 2,300 civilians died during the air campaign. Total Iraqi losses, 142,000 to 206,000. So let's just say about 250,000, right? Like let's say, yeah. How many Iraqis died? Independent analysts generally agree that the Iraqi death toll was well below the initial post-war estimates. In the immediate aftermath of the war, these estimates range as high as 100,000 Iraqi troops killed and 300,000 wounded, according to the Gulf War Air Power Survey. So Osama's just lying, just making shit up. Niggas are 1 million. He's like a Trump millions. Like he's just saying millions, bro. And it's crazy because like Hasan's editor is acting like Osama bin Laden had discovered something important, but this nigga was just making shit up. Why is that so hard for tankies and far left people to accept? Osama bin Laden was just cat. Like what else do you like? What do you want me to say? Okay, so let's read this again. So he says, despite the great devastation inflicted upon the Iraqi people by the Crusader Zionist Alliance, notice the language he uses, Crusader. He thinks he's in the 1100s, my G. He thinks this is the Crusades, bro. No one's thinking like this but him. This is a completely religious holy war in his eyes. No one thinks like this but him. We were in Iraq for over a decade. If we wanted to Christianize the nation, we could have tried. We didn't, because that's not what the war was about. Same thing with Afghanistan. Like, if we wanted to do that, we could have done that. It was not about Islam and Christianity. The Crusader Zionist Alliance. And despite the huge number of those killed, which has exceeded 1 million, cap, despite all this, the Americans are once again trying to repeat the horrific massacres, as though they are not content with the protracted blockade imposed after the ferocious war on the fragmentation and devastation. We, with God's help, call on every Muslim who believes in God and wishes to be rewarded to comply with God's order to kill the Americans and plunder their money wherever and whenever they find it. We also call on Muslim ulema, leaders, youths, and soldiers to launch the raid on Satan's U.S. troops. That's crazy. Not Uncle Sam, Satan. Satan's U.S. troops and the devil supporters allying with them, and to displace those who are behind them so that they may learn a lesson. Bro, this nigga's just tweaking. Bro, whatever he smoked or whatever he hit before this was crazy. The ruling to kill the Americans and their allies, civilians and military, is an individual duty for every Muslim who can do it in any country in which it is possible to do it. In order to liberate the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Holy Mosque, Mecca, from their grip, and in order for their armies to move out of all the lands of Islam, defeated and unable to threaten any Muslim. This is literally just lunacy. He's just saying this shit because he can. He's like DJ Khaled. He's just saying, shout out to Khaled, by the way. I love DJ Khaled. He's like, oh, is that racist? Damn. But he's just saying stuff because he can say it for free. Somebody should have charged. Well, he was a billionaire actually, so maybe he wouldn't mind paying to talk. That's another thing people don't know. So Osama bin Laden, although he looked dusty, the dude was really rich. So let's see what else this guy has to say. There's a part where he starts talking about how like America's run by Jews, therefore he has to kill us all. I'm trying to find that part because I read it months ago and I'm trying to find where it is. Gambling, Jews. It's crazy. I'm trying to find it though. I do believe, regarded by Osama as beyond the pale. He's attacking us, he says in his letter, because America helped the British hand over Palestine to the Jews, who have occupied it with oppression and tyranny. The creation and continuation of Israel is one of the greatest crimes, and Americans are the leaders of its criminals. Thus, short of wiping Israel from the face of the earth, there is no getting on Osama's good side. He is put out with us because of the American presence in Saudi Arabia, because Americans are not heeding his call to come to Islam, because Americans indulge in the immoral acts of fornication. Those of you progressives who talk about women's sexual liberation, this is your boy. All you tankies who talk about women's sexual liberation, but simultaneously trying to make it seem like Osama had some like Einstein idea for 9/11. Let's read together. Americans are not heeding his call to come to Islam. So because we have religious freedom and don't have to bow down and bend the knee, he's gonna kill us all. Well, before we got whacked. Because Americans indulge in the immoral acts of fornication, homosexuality, intoxicants, all you blunt smokers out there, all you weed smokers, Osama does not fuck with you. Gambling, Drake, in case you didn't know, Osama does not stop gambling, Aiden Ross, and trading with interest. That's basically code word for Jews. It's code word for Jews. We are condemned as a nation for choosing the Constitution over Sharia or Islamic law and for allegedly bringing AIDS to the world. To Osama bin Laden, America is virtually beyond. Okay, this is somebody else's take. I want to hear what he got to say. What did Osama say? I need to hear your rendition of what he said. Behind them stand the Jews who control your policies. There he goes. Who control your policies, media, and economy. Bro, I told y'all his reasoning for 9/11 was lunacy. Y'all don't listen to what I be telling, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. The dude was a lunatic, my G. Like Osama bin Laden was tweaking. He was literally insane. Like I don't know what you want me to say. Like Osama bin Laden was like on one. He figured it out. He was, like onto something. But no, he was a bum. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, and of course, Ethan gets shitted on. I really want to read the Twitter comments by the people who got upset at Ethan. But the fact that Frogan said this MFer never shuts up because Ethan called out Hasan's editor for basically excusing Osama bin Laden and trying to attribute some kind of deep reasoning for 9/11. The fact that Frogan was upset about that, do y'all need them to literally tell you they like Osama bin Laden before you realize that? Like, you don't need Nick Fuentes to say, I despise black people for you to know where he stands. You don't need him to literally say it. It's about what he says on the, periphery, Do you think we should have a two-state solution in Israel? In Israel itself, no. But I definitely think the West Bank and the Gaza Strip should belong to the Palestinians. I think if Israel really wants peace, they should probably pull out of the West Bank. I know that Netanyahu does not want to be the one to do that because if he does, it's already bad enough that October 7th happened on his watch. If he pulls out from the West Bank, he'll get whacked. Like, they'll literally just shove him off a balcony. So he's never going to do that. But there is something to be said about the fact that, the West Bank is being settled and somebody has to, say something. The reality is you can't just do that and expect nothing to happen. But yeah, a two-state solution is the only way for it to happen. There's literally no way Palestinians and Israelis can live side by side without chaos happening. It's impossible. They need two separate states, and that's the only way. The end. Like, anyone who says otherwise is just like a delusional child. One state solution is literally just another way of saying the Jews need to leave. Because I tell you this, the Palestinians do not want to live in a two-state solution with Israel, much less a one-state solution. The Palestinians do not want a two-state. The Gazans specifically, West Bank, they're, for people who are being settled, they're pretty chill. Like, I'll be fine. You know what I mean? The Gazans do not want a two-state solution. Period. Like, they just don't. It's like, I don't know why this stuff is popular. Like, I don't know why tankies even engage in this stuff. It's pointless. It's just stupid, you know? And this is Ethan actually, like, just blatantly just, like, you know, admits why this happened in the first place, why he fell out with Hasan. Ethan says, let me also say I give 0 Fs about Frogan's crocodile tears. She has inserted herself in the middle of my convos many times and cries when I respond to her. She is an official representative of Hasan's community, and the pressure should be on her to behave better and not make his entire community look bad. I also blame Hasan for continually hand-waving her horrific behavior to the point that it's essentially an endorsement. And F Osama bin Laden in this life and the next. I mean, folks, like, I hate to break it to you if you're a Hasan fan that watches my channel, but your boy is an Osama bin Laden terrorist sympathizer. Hasan literally brought a Houthi onto his stream while they were attacking innocent people in the Red Sea because the Palestinians were losing the war that they started. This is we're talking about Hasan Piker here, okay? This did happen. I hate to say it. Somebody has to say it. Somebody has to say it. Hasan did invite a terrorist onto his stream. I don't know, like, bro, like, you know, like the whole thing was like, oh, you know, beautiful terrorist, handsome terrorist. So? Like, I don't understand, like, how this is supposed to be a justification. Like, you know, Hasan did do that. And y'all need to realize and understand that radical Islam is not a friend of progressivism. And if you're willing to pick Palestine over progressivism, I don't F with you. I just don't. Stay away from me, okay? We can have both, but if you're willing to compromise one for the other, get away from me. Don't stay next to me. Through Kamala, big Kamala, we can save American minorities and the Palestinians. But if you're willing to compromise America and its minorities, its LGBTQ, its women, it's all of that for Gaza, I've got a problem with you. I can't get behind that, okay? I just can't get behind that. I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying?